What is up, YouTube? Jamie the Kid00 here, coming at you guys with another deck profile, something you guys have been requesting from the new set, Clash of Rebellions. That is going to be Clownblade. Now, as most of you will know, Clownblade suffered a few hits with the loss of the wonderful Lavalval chain. I'm not going to deny that made this deck a lot weaker, but I took it to locals today. I went 3-1 with it. I only lost to the wonderful Rescue Cat duelists, Ritual Beasts. Otherwise, it was a pretty clean sweep. I mean, it played against... It didn't regrettably play against Necros or Kalai, which are two things that I really have concerns about and wanted to test it against. But I managed to take down, I believe, 2 Tellarknight players, which was pretty strong. Tellarknight was a pretty rough matchup for this deck, so I'm pretty happy with that. So, all said, I'm just going to be getting into the deck profile. I'll show you guys what I was rocking with, really. I'm pretty happy with this list. There's probably a couple of things I would change, and there's actually one card in here that I had to play as my 40th card because I left my Compulse at home, and I'll point it out when we get there, but for the moment, I'll talk about my changes as I go through it. So we're going to start off the list with 3 copies of Perform Mage, Trick Clown. Trick Clown, of course, being the namesake of the deck. When this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a Perform Mage monster in your graveyard, or including itself, special summon it, and its attack and defense becomes 0, and I take 1,000 damage. That damage will become incredibly relevant when we get into the heroic aspect of the deck. I then played 2 copies of Damage Juggler. I'm not sure how I feel about this card. It's a good blank to go along with any monster that you may already have on the field. And when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to search your Trick Clown or your 1 copy of Hat Tricker that you play. But otherwise, I don't really see a huge need for this card. But I digress. Hat Tricker is in here as essentially like another Photon Thrasher and things like that, simply because you can special summon this card when there are 2 or more monsters on the field. And there's going to be, your opponent is going to have a monster, you're going to have a monster, you can just special summon this along and make, what's he called? Trapeze Magician. That's basically my Trapeze Magician engine. So this is the Perform Mage engine we play. You'll almost always just be rotating a Trick Clown, and if you draw into the other stuff, that's absolutely fantastic. But the main thing you want to see is your Trick Clown, and you may have various ways to get that into the grave as well. So that's the Perform Mage engine. For the Heroic engine, I'm playing 3 copies of Heroic Challenger Assault Halberd and 2 copies of Heroic Challenger Thousand Blades. Now, this is the other half of the namesake Clownblade, of course, with blades in the name. Assault Halberd is in here as a generically good Cyber Dragon type level 4, simply because you can special summon it if you control no monsters, your opponent controls some. Thousand Blades is in here to combo incredibly well with our Trick Clown, because Trick Clown, when he hits the graveyard, can special summon a Perform Mage, and you take 1,000 damage. And when you take damage while Thousand Blades is in the graveyard, you can special summon the Thousand Blades. Really, really good plays. So you're left with a rotating rank 4 engine that trigger whenever that Trick Clown hits the graveyard. And that Trick Clown can hit the graveyard in a large number of ways, like being destroyed by battle card effect, sent from the deck to the graveyard, or being detached as an Xyz material. So you can see all the different times it can activate, which is fantastic. So the 2 copies of Thousand Blades, 3 copies of Halberd, pretty strong. Then moving on to the other supporting cast, I played 3 copies of Mathematician. Really good at setting up one other card we'll get to in the deck in a second, but also really good at setting up your Thousand Blades and also triggering Trick Clowns late game or mid game. If you have 1,000 Blades in grave, if you draw into this, you can summon it, send the Trick Clown, trigger the Trick Clown, special summon it, and then special summon the 1,000 Blades, and you're left with a Mathematician and a rank 4 play. So it's quite nice. So the Mathematician is in there for that, and setting up 1,000 Blades. And I'm playing 1 Glot Bulb. This is incredibly, incredibly strong. The fact that you can have the Mathematician... so you'll usually have a situation where you can aim to have like an Xyz monster with a Trick Clown underneath it. You summon the Mathematician, send the Bulb, detach the Trick Clown, special the Trick Clown, trigger 1,000 Blades in grave. This is usually like mid-game, and then trigger the Bulb, and you make Trish. Like, that's why the Bulb is in there. And it may sound situational, but honestly, that happens so... I Trishula'd, I played 4 matches, and I only 2-0'd 2 people. And I made Trishula at least once every match, and I made it twice in 2 of those matches. So Trishula was hugely powerful in the locals, and Bulb just made it happen. And then the other 2 one-offs I play in the deck are 1 copy of Neospatial Grand Mole. It's just really good when you're playing a control-based deck. It's good for your attrition, good for anti-Xyz, and it's really, really nice with Halberd, because of course you can clear the way for the Halberd. And then I play 1 Photon Thrasher, because Photon Thrasher is really quite good. Again, also really good with the Mole, because you special the Thrasher, summon the Mole, attack with the Mole, you then have no monsters on the field, and you can attack with the Thrasher, so... That's pretty cool. But that's the complete monster lineup. I'm pretty happy with it. I didn't need to play any hand traps because the actual trap cards serve that purpose. But yeah, for the spell lineup, I played 1 Raigeki, 1 Book of Moon, 1 Mind Control, 1 Foolish Burial, 2 copies of Forbidden Lance. I didn't want a main MST or Galaxy Cyclone, so I went with the 2 copies of Lance, and it was really, really good. It was really useful for cards like Assault Halberd because it allowed it to win battles and search me cards. And you're, of course, playing like a lot of monsters that don't do a huge amount on the actual board with regards to removing stuff. So having these to aid you in battle is really, really strong. I then played 2 3-elves in the form of 3 copies of Reinforcement of the Army just to get to my heroic component, and then 3 copies of Upstart Goblin because honestly, you just want to get through the deck to your monsters and your traps. There were no 3 other cards I wanted to play. I felt that if I played 3 other cards, it would throw my ratios off. So the 3 Upstart Goblin were the reasonable choice. Then for the traps, I play double Fiendish Chain. I can't fault these; they were great. I mean, I might go 3, but 2 is good enough at the moment. I might go to Breakthrough Skill actually. I think Breakthrough Skill would have been stronger, but 2 Fiendish Chain, 3 copies of the ever popular Mirror Force. I absolutely love this card. I love playing it at 3, so I would not change that for the life of me. And then I played a series of one-offs. I played 1 Dimensional Prison. This should have been Compulse, but at the last minute I realized my deck was 39 cards, so I needed to put a card in my binder in, and there was a Prison in my binder, so I thought, why not? I'll put this in. But this should have been Compulse. 1 Vanity's Emptiness, 1 Ring of Destruction, 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, 1 Torrential, and 1 Solemn Warning. I'm still trying to get my ulti back from my friend. I do have an ulti, I promise. You will have seen it in my old videos. But that's the complete 40 card deck. It's literally just kind of control-based deck with a really good rank 4 engine in the main. So it's really nice. It was good to play traps again. I honestly loved playing the traps. So let's get on to the extra deck. I know that the original Clown Blade version in Japan didn't really play Synchro Engine, but this kind of change and the lack of Laval Chain necessitated some more explosive plays. So we played 1 copy of Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Absolutely fantastic card. It's an absolute joy to be able to play this again now that it's back at 1. And the Glow Up Bob just facilitated that. For our pick against Necros, we play 1 copy of Naturia Beast, and it's also really good against Cly as well. It gives me such a solid Cly and Necros matchup, simply because we're playing a huge heroic component, which is all Earth, and then you have the Bulb, which is Earth as well. So you can make this guy so easily. And then I play 1 Herald of the Arclight. It's simply so that we can make a Solemn Judgment on legs if we need to, because if we go Mathematician, send Bulb, summon Bulb, you can make Herald immediately, which is really, really good. I never actually made this, but in practice, in theory, it's a really good pick. So that's the synchros I play. I would have liked to have played more, but at the end of the day, this is a rank 4 toolbox, and you need to leave room for the main engine that you want to play. So for the rank 4s, I played 1 E-Knights, really, really strong throughout the day. 1 Giant Hand, again, this was absolutely huge. Now that you don't have a very good turn 1 play with the lack of Laval Chain, often I found myself just making this guy in defense. Simply because if I was told to go first, I'd always try and go second. But if I was made to go first, I would just sit the Giant Hand in defense, set as much back row as I could, and pass. And that was the strongest turn 1 play I could make, because other than Laval Chain, this is the only kind of good passive card to make turn 1. So that's just my input. You don't have to play this if you don't want to. You guys all kicked off in my previous video, but if you have this, I would recommend playing it. So that's the more politically correct way of saying it, I guess, because you guys all got salty about that before. Sorry. Then I played 101 Silent Honor Arc. It's good to play this card again. I haven't played it in a while, but this card was huge today. I made it loads of times, so it's just really, really strong for threat removal. 1 Castel, the Sky Blaster Musketeer. I'm so happy. I actually was playing the Super all day, and then at the end of the event, I came 4th, and I pulled this in my Astral Pack, so pretty happy with that. Can't complain. So that finishes the extra deck, I guess. The 1 Cowboy, just for the degenerate burn and attacking. This is actually really useful as well, because it lets you detach 1 material. So if you are in a situation where you've already used your Trick Clown for the turn, you can make this with the Trick Clown and the 1,000 Blades, detach the 1,000 Blades and attack something, and then at least, if it doesn't die during your turn, you're going to be able to trigger the Trick Clown in the main phase 2, and possibly, so not in the main phase 2, in your opponent's turn, or if it survives the whole time, if you've got traps to back it up, you can save that Trick Clown for a detach in the next turn, and then you get another Xyz play. So Cowboy's actually really quite cool in the attacking sense for that as well. The 1 Excalibur, I mean, you can do it by the burn as well, but the attack actually lets you deal with threats. The one Excalibur 4K is pretty nice, so why not? The one Abyss Dweller, the one Trapeze Magician. I actually never made this, surprisingly. It's crazy, but I honestly never found the situation where I was going to make this. Maybe I'd play a couple more hat trickers in future, but one Trapeze Magician is all it needed, and I never made it. Emerald made this loads. If you're playing a control deck, so you want to be drawing and putting your engines back and possibly drawing more traps, so Emerald's really strong. The one Ptolemaeus, and then I played 2 rank 5s in the form of Constellar Diamond and Constellar Pleiades. Pleiades, really, really, really strong. Cannot fault it at all. So that brings me to about the end of the deck profile. So, as per usual, guys, please leave me your feedback on this list. I've had a lot of fun playing this deck. I'm probably going to see if I can come up with some more things that can play the Perform Mage engine, because I really like Trapeze Magician as a card. So we'll see where we can go from there. But otherwise, that's about everything I wanted to talk about. This has been Jamie the Kid 00, as per usual. And I'll see you guys next time. Feel free to leave this a like if you enjoyed it. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more of the same. And share this with your friends if you think they benefit from it. But yeah, peace out, guys. Bye-bye.